Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCullum, and today we're taking a look at a rifle that was almost a British Army trials rifle. The British military held a trial in 1868 looking for a new single-shot cartridge rifle. And they had 9 different entrants into the competition, and they almost had 10. This rifle was designed and patented by a guy named William Soper, S-O-P-E-R, and according to him, he didn't get into the trial because he delivered his guns one day late to the British Ordnance Committee. So, tough luck. Now, he originally patented this gun in 1868, and he would go on to file a second patent and improve the gun in the 1870s. So this was something that he was working on commercially. It wasn't just a trials rifle. In fact, this particular one is serial number 114, indicating that he did make more than just the 6 required for British trials. Now, what's really cool about this is he took very seriously the British military request. One of their primary desires for this trial was they wanted a rifle that could be reloaded without the shooter having to move around a lot, because they were going to be using these with ranks of men shoulder to shoulder. And so the gun had to be able to be easily reloaded without swinging around the gun or one's arms or anything like that. So Soper has this 3.5-to-1 advantage lever on the side of the action that recocks the action, opens the breech block, extracts and ejects the empty case. It does everything for you, which is really cool. And reportedly, he had a soldier working as his assistant who demonstrated the gun to the British military and was able to actually fire 60 shots in 60 seconds, which is a really impressive rate of fire on a single-shot rifle. And that was the whole purpose of this gun, was rapid fire despite being a single-shot gun. So let's take a closer look. Let me show you that mechanism. So that's the big action lever on the side, and when you hit that thing, everything happens. So this is now locked because the hammer is cocked. So if I drop the hammer, when I push this down, I'm recocking the hammer, I'm unlocking and opening the breech block, and I'm also cycling this extractor and ejector. So you do that with a little bit of force, and it's going to nicely throw the empty case out of the gun, and then all you have to do is slide a cartridge in, pull the lever up to close the breech block, and it is now locked and ready to fire. So unlike most guns of the period, well, unlike a lot of them, you didn't have to manually cock a hammer to fire this. And in fact, the ergonomics of the design were such you were supposed to do that with your right thumb. So as a right-handed shooter, you would be firing like this, and you have your thumb right there, and you can just sling the action open like that. Presumably, you could, well, I'm not entirely sure if you would then be expected to reload with your right hand, so this hand to go for a cartridge and load it, or if you would hold the gun in your right hand and load the cartridge with your left. It is a long and heavy rifle, so probably best off doing all the operations with your right hand. Soper stuck his name on the side there as inventor and patentee, and he lived in Reading in the UK. And there are a few numbered parts. You can see a number 114 down there. And there you have the serial number of the rifle overall, number 114. We have Henry's patent up here on the barrel because Henry had patented a rifling system which would of course end up being used in the Martini-Henry. And so it looks like Soper also used a Henry barrel. All right, and then it's hard to get in the light there, and it's very small. There's also a marking on the barrel describing this as W. Soper's Direct Action Breech Loader. So that would have been his name for the system. Definitely very cool. This particular one is at least a military pattern rifle, I don't know if it was or was not one of the actual trials guns, but the bayonet lug there is obviously a military element to it. And we have a typical military style of rear sight. But interestingly, we also have this socket on the back of the tang, which I'm sure would have been used for a rear aperture sight, a folding sight would probably fold down to the back to clear the ejection pathway. But that's something that we see on, well, like American buffalo rifles of this same period. There you have it, what could have been a British Army trials rifle. Now, had this gone into the trials, I kind of suspect that they would have turned it down on account of being too complex. I think the leverage mechanism and the exposed surfaces up here probably would have been a cause for concern for the British military. But as a sporting rifle, as a civilian gun, it seems like it would have been quite interesting. And certainly he sold at least 114 of them. I did actually find a reference to a collector who did some trial shooting with one of these in the 70s on a clock and was able to get something like 40 or 45 rounds off in a minute. So it wasn't entirely just this well-practiced trick shooter assistant that was able to make this thing really sing, but it really is legitimately a very fast action. So very cool to see. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do consider checking out my Patreon page. It is supporters there at $1 a month that really make it possible for me to travel about and find these sorts of guns and bring them to you guys. Thanks for watching.